What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, our Monday afternoon show presented by our friends at Comcast Xfinity. If you want the latest and best deals from Comcast Xfinity, go to Xfinity.com. Xfinity.com. And right at the top, it'll say, where do you live? You enter your address for the best offers. They'll be sent right to you there. And deals like 5 years, no contracts, peace of mind for your future self. Simple and streamless, just as Wi-Fi should be. Data, equipment, everything you need included. No contracts, no catch, just a connection. Plus an unlimited mobile line included for 1 year on them for $55 a month. Really good deals. Again, Xfinity.com. You type in your address, find my plan, boom, right there for you. Jason, how you doing, man?
Graham.
Really good penis.
What's up, buddy? What's going on? Why do you look like my wife after she sees George Clooney? Why y'all wet over there? What happened to you?
I don't know if I've come through a rainstorm. I went 40 feet. Oh, that's okay. I went 40 feet from my car to the studio, and it was,
Dude, it rained hard for like about 2 seconds. Why didn't you just wait in your car and to see if it passed over? Like, what?
Because
it's like we start here on time, you know? It's not like
the whole time I was driving, it was more than 2 seconds. It was a good 15 minutes. So I didn't know how long it was going to go.
It goes from 2 seconds to 15 minutes.
Easy, because
it comes down sideways down here. Yeah, it's weird. But I just look over and Couch is all wet as a dog over there.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's good for the YouTube Live.
Right. If people want to see me wet, they want to see this the outline of my chest muscles or lack thereof and nipples and things like that. They're here for you for the YouTube Live listener.
If you must see us while we do this horse shit.
Yeah. So it might be a better show just to download the podcast and get it that way.
Say that every show.
Yeah, that's true.
If wants to watch this.
He's looking at us. Good luck to you. But all right. So
how's Mom doing?
She's good.
Yeah.
And by the way,
how are you? Like, are you back to normal after the 27 hours you had to take care of her?
I was 5 days with help from my sister and her other friends and other things. She's she's in some ways a very easy patient because she's a go-getter. She does all her exercises. She wants to be up and at 'em, right? That no doubt. But she's also a little restless and a little demanding too. So like you sit down to like start writing a column. You get 5 minutes in, and she's ready to get up and needs a little help again, or she wants this or that.
What now, Mom? I'm in the middle of a column.
This is my third bite in a donut. Leave me alone.
I hate to get angry here, but I'm in the middle of a column. It's due tomorrow. You just go out with your friend or something? It's crazy how like all of a sudden they raise us and then we have to end up taking care of them. It's just so, oh man, life is so weird.
And
Jesus.
And like my mom knows it, and she hates that part of it. She hates the idea of being like a burden. And she's not. This is great. This is part of the deal, and I am happy to do it.
You're not a burden. You're still here. I mean, look at the alternative. You'd be dead.
It's not a great moment in my Friday show.
It's one of my favorites. Oh my God. Anyway.
Yeah. How you doing? You good?
I'm good, man. Yeah, it was a great weekend, so I'm excited to be here. I'm excited the Tigers didn't blow that game last night, and we have some hope.
Yeah. Well, are you ready to dig into these hot takes and listener hot takes?
Buenos tardes. It is time for the Detroit Tigers Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
Was there any point in that ninth inning last night where you were thinking like, oh boy, if they come back? I know there was 10-4 at one point there in the ninth.
I was glad. I was glad it happened for this reason. The way that Jackson could not,
throw a strike.
Because
this guy. It
reaffirmed the fact that really outside of Will Vest, they are a nothing bullpen.
We're screwed.
Yeah, and so you need that. When you have a good moment like that was a feel good game. Jack Flaherty is great again.
I know, but Scherzer struck us out 11 times.
Right.
Didn't get a hit till the 8th inning. I mean,
you were going to win 10-0.
hits.
That's a feel-good game by most standards, right? And then at the same time,
or Glaber got a 3-run homer. Excuse me. Yeah.
You're reminded that there's something really fundamentally wrong here, though, with this team in terms of being able to do anything.
Does Scott Harris know that?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes. Okay. And I bet you what he's trying to figure out is, I mean, they're at a weird spot where now you're not going to sell, but how all in do you go? What do you give up? And you also have to, if the
how is that even in the conversation of selling, though? If you're up that much in your division, and I know that we had a little down spurt there, lost a lot of games in a row, but my God, we're still up, 8 games, 7 games, 7.5.
So I don't think the conversation should ever be about selling or buying. It should be completely about what is the best value. And if somebody were to overwhelm you with the trade and haul of the century for somebody like Tarek Skubal, you listen regardless. Especially when you don't. I just say regardless, but you listen when you have a team that has enough flaws that you can go, that team's not going to win a World Series as constructed. And by the same token, if you can keep this team and add a couple bullpen arms, and ideally add a bat, but a couple bullpen arms for sure. Because you do get to the postseason, by the way, and some of your starters a little bit go into the bullpen. Like the rotation changes a little bit, and things are a little bit different. But I don't know how good.
So
those
if you're not a buyer
anyway.
And you're a seller and you're just standing pat, you're pretty much
You're wasting
standing pat.
You're wasting time,
right?
And so I don't like that either. I don't love
because that's all I heard all weekend is how it's everybody. Bob Nightingale is even saying it looks like the Tigers might stand pat. We got Suarez coming into town with the Diamondbacks for a 3-game series starting tonight. So could he be now he's only through contract through 2025, so he would be a rental,
right? Unless
you could convince him to sign an extension or something like that.
Again, and if it's a rental, how much are you willing to give up? It can't be too much, right? It's a rental, and unless you're right, unless the deal comes with an extension in the moment or whatever, that sort of deal. Yeah, look, I think it was important that Sunday happened. You can tell it by the tone of some of the Tiger takes we have today from listeners. Like people are at ease because it does feel like a moment, and I think they said it on the broadcast, like you'll never feel like you'll win a game.
But we want to keep prospects. But answer me this, Scott Harris, are we going to pay them when it comes time where they are actually producing and they become part of the organization like a Skubal, or are we just going to sit there and kowtow to all the Dodgers and all the other top teams that have a payroll?
Well, right.
The tax on their fucking payroll is higher than our payroll.
But if you've got another guy for like 7 years before he's under. Before you have to pay him anyway, that's a little different. But yeah, I would look at somebody like if it's a Scott Boras client who's 19 years old, fucking move him.
But how old is Boras? How much longer does he have? Is
that's
there
a good
Scott
question.
Boras Jr. or something that we would have to worry about in the future here?
Yeah, when that guy dies, it'll be helpful. But that's a ways off.
Yeah, because there's no other agent that's as cutthroat or is waiting to step in and be the next Scott Boras. Like, I can understand you want money for your client. There's no salary cap. It's got to be amazing. Yeah. And you have a team that's like the Detroit Tigers. I just pray that we at least offer something to Skubal because I just don't see it happening. I'm starting to prepare myself to not eat Little Caesars pizza anymore and not see Tarek Skubal in 2 years. Every time I see him pitch.
All right, you ready for my first hot take?
Of course.
So after this show Friday, in usual perfect timing, about 2 hours after the show, Michigan State basketball got a pledge from Carlos Medlock Jr., a 5'11" point guard out of Detroit, son of Eastern Michigan legend Carlos Medlock Sr., who I covered as a freshman in 2005. These guys, I mean, it's amazing how some of these guys are not that old. Like Medlock and Jeremy Fears Sr. were freshmen together in the MAC, like two of the really talented young point guards at one point in like 2005, 06. But anyway, everything you see about this guy and you hear is that he's somebody whose ranking is climbing. A lot of people think very highly of him. He's not the biggest point guard. But I really, really like the fact that they didn't let that hold them back. Because Michigan State in a lot of places have a history of struggling with this. Michigan State, it was Tyler Ulis, and I understand there was another great guard out there that they were going after at the time. If Ulis was a little bit bigger, they would not have hesitated with him, right? And then Tyler Ulis would have been theirs before Kentucky ever came into the picture. I look, there have been lots of these guys throughout time. DJ Cooper. I mean, David Bailey. And if you don't know these guys, David Bailey at Loyola was incredible. He's like Barry Sanders on a basketball court in the early 2000s. DJ Cooper, Michigan fans will remember because he ran circles around him in the NCAA tournament in Ohio. These are guys who anybody could have had. And they cost people jobs. The fact that Bruce Weber didn't recruit DJ Cooper, Bruce Weber eventually gets fired. Like, if he just recruits DJ Cooper, his entire ending at Illinois is different. Brian Ellerby at Michigan, if he had just, like, he had a little bit of interest in David Bailey, that would have been a different ending. Now, I don't think Ellerby would have been the answer at Michigan. But point is, coaches get fired for this mistake a lot. It costs them Final Fours, like it might have cost Izzo one. Because if you put Tyler Ulis on that Denzel Valentine 2016 team, that's a pretty nice addition for that team. Probably doesn't lose to Middle Tennessee State. Probably is a 1 seed. Probably it's a different trajectory entirely. Right? Would have been on the 2014-15 team. Probably would have stuck around for that third year for 2016 too, I think, if he had been at Michigan State, because the culture is different. Where at Kentucky at that point, it was like push you out. And this is before NIL, when he would have made a ton of money. It was like push you out the door as soon as you can be a pro. He was a second-round pick and washed out of the league pretty quickly. Point being, while small point guards can have deficiencies, and you cannot be too small in the backcourt, when you're talking about point guards, really good point guards, and Medlock's got a little heft to him as well. He's looks like a strong kid. I think he'll be fine. But if you've got a guard you really like, don't overthink the size. I mean, Cassius Winston was only about 6 feet tall. Wasn't the most athletic guy in the world, but was smooth as could be, and one of the top couple players in Michigan State basketball history.
A guy like Rashad Phillips from Detroit Mercy.
Rashad Phillips,
great Twitter follow.
Yep. Could have absolutely played at Detroit with Desmond Ferguson, who runs the Moneyball Pro-Am and owns Moneyball Sportswear. They were a great pairing. I mean, this is something coaches have struggled with for a long time, and it's cost them their jobs, and it's cost them Final Fours and maybe national championships. And I'm not saying Medlock's going to be a program-changing player, but it is good for MSU that when they identify him as somebody, not only that in-state kid, which I think is important in this day and age when you're trying to hang on to kids for multiple years in the rev share era and transfer portal era. You go get a kid from Detroit, and
does that matter anymore when you have private planes you can put these kids on?
Sure,
and get away with
no,
it?
because it's their family. It's
homesick. Here you go.
It's where their family's from. It's how easy it is for them to see them play. It's how they view a certain program because they've grown up around a certain place. You know, Michigan State basketball to kids around here is a bigger deal than it probably is to a kid who grows up somewhere else. Like, one of the reasons Izzo's been able to put a fence around Michigan State, or around Michigan, I should say, or was for a long, long time, and really that 4-hour radius, make headway in terms of recruiting the top guys out of Indianapolis and certain places in Ohio and things like that, is kids who grow up in this area, in this region, view Michigan State on a similar plane with the Dukes and Kentuckys of the world. Whereas if you're down south or you're out west, Duke and Kentucky is still another level, right? And so Michigan State is a big deal. Now, I'm not saying it's not a big deal elsewhere. Josh Langford wanted to play in the Big Ten, wanted to play at Michigan State. They get guys from outside the area still fairly often these days. But there is something about Michigan State, if you're around here, there is a cachet to it that I think is a little different, and that matters. But yeah, for Michigan State, I just think this is a good get. And you start to look at the lineage of point guards, and in this day and age when there is the transfer portal, you can never have too many, but you also have to be careful not to recruit over people. And, they just bring in the kid who's going to be a sophomore from Miami, Divine Ugochukwu. Did I get that right? Not even close. Who the fuck?
Oogie.
I'll get there. Oogie. And obviously Jeremy Fears has as many as 3 years left, or 4 years left. What was he, a red shirt? 3 years left, I guess. Who knows how many years he'll play there? So, but this is a really nice get. And again, it's the small point guard thing, not letting that get in your way. It doesn't look that small, but there have been times throughout Michigan State's history and a lot of coaches' history that they overlook guys who are under 6 feet. And I think it's been a mistake a lot of times, and probably
should the mentality have changed by now? I mean, I'm not saying, I know Steph Curry is 6 feet tall and he's a shooting guardish kind of, but I mean, honestly, if you can play, especially at the Division I level, where you never know what a guy under 5'10", 5'11", 5'9" could do for your team.
And
is that still like a stigma? That still blows my mind.
the other thing about guys
And you
who
ball? I don't care if you're 5'9".
the other thing about guys who are under 6 feet is sometimes you get them for 4 years instead of 2 years because they're too short for the NBA, which also has that stigma, and it's a little more correct for the NBA because it is a bigger, longer, more athletic league with every step up. Sure. I just think when you're looking for, we talked about this before in terms of the ideal recruit is Cassius Winston. It's not Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, ideally, you're getting both of them. But if you're getting Jaren Jackson Jr. for one developmental year, and obviously he set blocks records, he was an unbelievable defensive player. I'm not saying he wasn't valuable, but you'd much rather have Cassius Winston. You'd much rather have the 4-year guy, even if some of them don't turn out to be great. Anyway, I thought that this was notable that they got him, and that he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he was somebody that I identified and really wanted.
The urinal or portal.
What is your next take?
Well, we all get angry when our favorite team starts to lose or a team we're covering. I know that you're not a fan anymore, and I know that we're both fans of Pat Caputo around here, and he was kind of annoyed with Jason Benetti and Andy Dirks. Did you hear about this over the weekend?
He was upset
that they were pissed off,
that they were being goofy and playing around and having fun on the broadcast.
He
right?
says, quote, "There is a way to be humorous and to be clever. It's another thing to just whatever the hell that is, and the team is getting flamed right now. The ratings aren't up because of the comedy act." Like, he goes on and on talking about, and I can understand because Benetti can be out there, but I just don't know what you want from your play-by-play guy. We dealt with Matt Shepard. We gave him 5 glorious years. He had his opportunity, and I think that's Pat Caputo's guy, and those are the kind of guys that Pat Caputo wants in there. I would like to be somewhat entertained. If you want to be entertained, you have to take certain chances, and I think Benetti takes those for good or for bad. Like, you have to just take both. I understand that he annoys and drives people the wrong way sometimes, but what are you supposed to do when you have 3 to 4 hours on a broadcast and you have to make it interesting? And I know J.K. Simmons, that was the other thing he went off on. J.K. Simmons is on every broadcast, and Jack White. I get that. I get all of the, because I see those Cure commercials with that Eric Poe asshole, and I just sit there and rant and rave about it too. So I can understand. Like, I kind of appreciate a little bit of Caputo's old man kind of isms, but I've heard his product on 97.1 and what he, thinks is entertainment, and it's Pat Caputo talking into a forest for 3 hours. And I don't know if that's entertaining to me, and I know some people think Pat Caputo is entertaining radio. It's not for me. I think Pat Caputo knows a lot about sports, obviously. So why don't we, I was listening to Drew Lane's podcast, and they were like, well, why doesn't Pat Caputo go up into the booth, and Benetti and Dirks can have a good time with Pat Caputo, and we can see what fun entertainment Pat Caputo likes to put on. Just for an inning or two. I think it would be fun, right?
That would be a very entertaining inning. I like Pat Caputo personally. I always have. I think
you have one of the best Pat Caputo stories about LSJ, though. That could probably,
Yeah, we've told. I don't know if we've told it recently, so I don't think we have to.
Yeah, no, it's fine. That he wanted a job at the LSJ and just to coast, and
yeah,
he was at the end of his career. Listen, you can still like a guy, and if he's an old man and he's a curmudgeon, and he thinks, oh, you know what? I just need a microphone and myself, and I can entertain 1,000 people on 97.1. Okay.
One of my favorite things, and this isn't even a Pat Caputo story. This is I'm blanking on his name right now, and I apologize.
Mad Dog Dave DeMarco.
No, I'm not going to get it. But he was the last, and actually, give me some Hoff because I feel bad that I don't.
Tim Stout.
No.
I am the passenger.
Peacock.
And I ride and I ride. I ride through the city's backside. I see the stars come out of the sky. Yeah, they're bright in the hollow sky. It looks so good tonight.
I don't know why I'm not gonna. Anyway,
right up in the mic.
And
it was painful.
Yeah, I'm not gonna find it. Anyway, and
who's that tribute to though? Is it a male, female? Like
it's a male. Anyway. And Caputo hasn't been in the Oakland Press in 5 years.
Oh.
But besides the point, he was an Oakland Press columnist for a long, long time, right?
Yeah.
And the Oakland Press was, I would say, late to the digital age a little bit. And so in 2008, when I was the backup beat writer for Booth Newspapers /MLive.com for the Tigers for a summer, the guy who was the Oakland Press beat writer, like, games would go into extra innings later than the print deadline for the Oakland Press, and And he'd be like, well, game's over for the Oakland Press readers. And he would just go home. Like they weren't going to make deadline. So it was incredible.
It's a shame you couldn't find that person's name.
I know. It's
so what does that have to do with Pat Caputo?
Because
he worked at the Oakland Press.
Yeah, that's all I got. That was a story not worth telling. But
you could have told the old Pat Caputo story.
Told anyway. Presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing, which, by the way, this Thursday, 90s pop culture trivia starting at 7 p.m. with a second round at 8 p.m. 90s theme trivia. Sounds like a lot of fun. Grand prizes for first place winners in both rounds and prizes for second and third place winners. Call to reserve your table and your party, 517-977-1349. 90s theme trivia this Thursday night at Midtown Brewing Company here in downtown Lansing. They do these great theme trivia stuff. This one sounds like a good one. So I apologize. That was not a great story, and
it would have been really good if you had the name of it, though.
It would have been
someone
better.
that left a Tigers game.
Yeah. So no, I look in terms of those guys goofing off. I understand. Look, everybody is when you're in the public eye or you're somebody who's you open yourself up to criticism. You deserve to be criticized. People don't. Not everybody's.
I just think there's so many games, and you see the guys, and you watch it. If you watch every game like I do, I can understand you get annoyed by certain things that happen in the booth and on the broadcast.
And when teams are losing, and I think part of Matt Shepard's problem was the Tigers were really bad. Yeah. So he came across as annoying to people because the problem in those jobs is you work for the club, and so there is a little bit of spin, especially when it's really bad, and people don't want to hear it. And so people sometimes, when things are really bad, don't want to hear fun and games. Now,
Shepard just reminded me of one of my summer school teachers. That was he's a cookie cut. I had many, believe me, in my academic career. Jesus,
there's the word.
Anyway, Shepard was just a cookie cutter kind of one of those guys that, he liked to do his straight arrow kind of sports stuff. And he's a very good broadcaster, very good play-by-play guy. But outside of that, in baseball, you have to, you got to have some sort of entertainment value and kind of bust balls and make fun of yourself a little bit.
100%. But nothing Benetti's done to this point has annoyed me. And I've really enjoyed having him be a Tigers broadcaster.
Yeah.
But Pat Caputo is Caputo. Pat Caputo.
Start this show over. We both suck.
Pat Caputo is paid for his opinions, and this is his opinion, and he's absolutely entitled to it, and I have no issue with it.
Yeah.
All right, let me give you my next take.
All right.
So we've talked about on this show for months because it's July, it's June, it's May, and there's when you talk about MSU,
Heroes should be in the Hall of Fame.
No, but when you talk about MSU football, there's really no new data points except for you get a stretch of new recruits pledging in June or things like that. And the idea that they could be really good this year, they could be really bad, trying to figure out what it looks like. And if you're looking for hope, I just want to remind people, and this is for a column I'm working on for the LSJ, and it has not yet been completely written.
Don't interrupt me, Mom.
So in the last 40 years, Michigan State has had 9 seasons where they've had 2 losses or fewer, right? And that goes back to the 87 Rose Bowl season. All those seasons have been 10 wins or more, except when they played fewer games back then. So 2 losses that's a very good season for throughout all of times in college football. In 6 of those 9 seasons where they've lost 2 games or less, the year before that, they've won 6 or fewer games. So the idea that almost all of those seasons, and all of them, in all 6 of those, they were unranked, obviously. So coming into the year. And so all of those seasons, 66% of Michigan State's best seasons in the last 40 years have come out of nowhere, have not been expected. And I think that's just something. Now, it also speaks to the idea that they've been, except for a stretch under D'Antonio, unable to sustain things because so often they've come out of nowhere and then they've gone backwards and they haven't been able to sustain, because usually the year after that, there are expectations, and sometimes they haven't been able to meet those. But I just think in terms of what we know and what we think about this team as fall camp begins on Tuesday, there are things we can think, and there are things like I think this offense, if I had to guess today, is going to be pretty decent. I think the offensive line is going to be better than we've seen in a while. Now, again, seeing is believing, but I just have this feeling about it. I think they're going to be pretty good at receiver. I think they'll be good at quarterback. I think they'll be okay at running back, and if they have a good offensive line, it'll look like they're really good at running back. We'll see with all of it, but defensively, I have real questions on the defensive line, their ability to pressure the quarterback. I think they'll be good at linebacker. We'll see in the secondary. I don't think they're going to be a complete team. And so you can compare them to these different teams that were throughout time, came out of nowhere. And in 2021 is the best example. This is the Kenneth Walker-led year and how that, and there are a lot of differences from that team. 2017, 2013 to some degree with the Rose Bowl, 2010, 1999, 1987. These are years that came out of nowhere where they weren't very good the year before. And there are similarities and differences to different parts of those teams. I'm going to write about that a little bit today, and it'll probably be up Monday night on the LSJ site. But just the point being, like, if they come out of nowhere, most of the time that they've had really great seasons, it has been that. We just haven't seen it coming. They've had 6 wins, 5 wins, 3 wins, whatever it was the year before. And so 2-5 in the COVID year. And so I just think we don't know. And it's easy to look at last year and say that was shit. And it was at the end. Those last 5 games were shit. And then it's easy to be concerned about things. And I think some of that was mitigated by the recruiting in June. The new athletic director, it feels like people feel a little more hopeful and have a little more faith in the competence of everything that's going on. But just to remind, like, a lot of the best seasons came out of nowhere. So it could absolutely happen. It might not happen. There have been a lot of times there have been bad seasons stacked on bad seasons. But there have, 6 times, 6 of 9 of the best seasons Michigan State football's had in the last 40 years. And really 5 of 8 going back like 30 years have been just completely out of nowhere. So I just wanted to point that out.
Holy shit. Oh, my God, Couch. That is a Hall of Fame Michigan State football July take right there.
Thank you.
Holy
Thank you.
shit.
Thank you. Is that the most entertaining take of the day?
If that's not, I don't know what is.
That right there.
Xfinity, are you happy?
That right there is presented by Xfinity and Comcast. Absolutely.
What is it? What day is it? It's July 28th. Michigan State football take.
Well, yeah. It's
and I don't even know if he said anything. Did you say anything? You just don't know, right?
But
is that up in the air?
Point being,
you have to keep your mind open.
No, point being that when they have great seasons, it often comes out of nowhere. So to have hope.
You are the best.
To have hope. And with that, Comcast Xfinity is upping its game on no contract options for sports and connectivity. The new sports and TV package is available for Xfinity customers. 50-plus news and sports channels, and all in one place. It's available for $70 a month when combined with Xfinity Internet, the broadband network built for streaming and live sports. No contract or commitment required. Go to Xfinity.com. Again, type in your where you live, your address. You'll find the best possible plan for you. All right, you got any other takes, Jason?
No.
All right.
No, I couldn't do it. Even if I had one, I would for the people. Let's just go.
All right, let's dig into the listener takes.
Dominic, up first. Number 1, sorry I missed last week, Couch, but you don't got to subtweet me every show. Calling out the Strayhorn Nick Marsh thing. Yep, that was me. And it also very much happened. I don't lie, bro. Did Strayhorn also go to Sexton? Is he a nice guy like Haller and Harlan and Los? 2, yes, Couch, you did offend Italian Americans. Most of us don't celebrate Christopher Columbus and his genocide. This isn't a fucking Sopranos meme, bro. How would you like it if I made an alpha male joke towards maybe me? Or are you only a white knight when it's convenient? And 3, I am personally getting some dude a gift card for his Couch impression regarding the blue wall. Holy shit, I laughed so damn hard. Everything down to the stammering and never answering. Also, Couch, your weak-ass Sharon answer belongs in the Hall of Wojo. My God, man. And bonus. My ex just asked me if I wanted to partake in her DoorDash order. No, I do not. Plenty of other guys want your HoreDash. That said, ask the driver to stop by Walgreens to grab me a vial of penicillin to inject in my ass because you were just within 8 feet of me.
What a character Dominic's created with his ex-girlfriend here. It's unbelievable.
He almost needs a podcast just detailing like what it's about.
Yeah,
you know, like,
we need to do a segment there.
I have a few people that ask me about Dominic's whoring ex-girlfriend.
I know. People are calling for it even here. They want more details.
And I'm like, I don't know. It's my story to tell, you know. Like.
To his number 1, we'll get into the idea of Jason Strayhorn and the idea that he tried to get Nick Marsh to go to Michigan where his son is going. I have not heard that from anybody other than
Dominic.
Dominic. Well, and I've heard murmurs about that from because I think it is
Dominic.
on message boards and other places. But and if it happened, look, I don't think it happened. But if it happened, and I'm not calling you a liar, Dominic would never do that. It's crazy,
Liar.
and then he deserves to be let go from his radio gig because you can't do that stuff. That's
stupid looking face.
That's treason. That's treasonous in the rivalry discourse, right? So like you wouldn't do that. So, but I'm not calling.
But
you
if
a
he
liar.
did do it, how did it go down though? Like, did he have Nick Marsh pulled to the side? Were there other people around? I need to
Or Nick Marsh told somebody. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, I don't. That's not information I have.
Maybe. The U.S. government failed the people when they declined to issue official email accounts and charge postage per email. It would fix any spending deficits and resolve spam email. Imagine a world where LinkedIn doesn't email you.
There's so many missed opportunities in the early 90s when email first started, right? On a widespread basis. Newspapers, for example, with lots of things. There are lots of missed opportunities back then with the internet, like classifieds. Like the idea that Craigslist ever existed and newspapers didn't take control of that is part of the reason we are where we are
Newspapers
today.
really dropped the ball and are still dropping the ball in 2025.
Yeah. There are still some people around who were in leadership positions in the 90s from newspapers. There are fewer and fewer of them. But a lot of them were in leadership for too long because you should have been completely exiled from the business if you were making decisions in the mid-90s because you are directly responsible.
This internet's just a fad.
A lot of the things we did not.
Paper stand strong.
There were a lot of opportunities. And it would be amazing if email was
Pay per email.
But think about if you opened your email today every day and you had like 3 or 4 emails and they were like quality emails you actually wanted to read instead of like everything, it would be amazing.
Now I just have 3 different emails, and then when one fills all the way up, I just change it to a new email.
100%.
What's the point? Scott, how does college football incentivize and promote the scheduling culture that college basketball has, where it's not just a number of wins, but wins against quad 1 teams that promoted, where a close loss to Kansas matters more to the selection committee than a 100-point win over Niagara?
Yeah, where game control matters and other things. I think it starts with parameters, and I've thought this before. We're like, again, if you can't, because there should be some intent in scheduling too, and year to year it's hard to know what a team would be. And also the bigger problem in college football is a lot of these games are scheduled a ways out. So you really, that's different than basketball where it's much more in the previous year. That said, so if you had a requirement that you had to play 5 true road games, and you had a requirement that you had to play 10 Power 4 teams, be it in conference or out of conference. So if you have 9 conference games, you see 1 more. If you have 8, you need 2 more. And then you can only play 2 FCS or smaller conference teams. If you had that where you had that baseline, it would help. And then you just need like the committee to actually speak to that being a priority and act on it. That's what it would take. It would take teams seeing the value in it. I think that's what it takes. It takes teams being left out because they're doing what Indiana's doing, or left out or brought in because they play an incredible schedule and they serve their fans like they should, and that's what it takes.
Witty username next. You're wrong about scheduling, Couch. Play the weakest schedule. You can until a program actually gets penalized for doing it. Play the hand you are dealt, not the hypothetical dream scenario rewarding non-conference intrigue, especially when your league strength of schedule will be high. Warm weather games will be well attended regardless. And if you're beating Ohio State, Penn State, and new West Coast teams, no way the strength of schedule argument holds water.
So I don't think we should, and I understand that there's one thing to call it a hypothetical dream scenario, but I also don't think we should live in a world where it's what you can get away with. Like, that's not the point of this. If that's where we're at, then fuck it all. Like, who the, like, I'm sorry. I apologize. Earmuffs. But I just, that drives me nuts. The idea that you would not have what you would not give your fans great non-conference matchups, that you would not try to increase their experience. Now, I understand winning increases their experience and playing in the playoff increases their experience. So I understand the argument behind it, and obviously I don't think Indiana's fan base is upset about it. I just think it's trash. I just can't stand it. And I'm willing to go toe-to-toe with anybody. Like, I just want to hear people say it to my face who are in leadership, why we can't, like, if you're a commissioner or an AD, or why the preference collectively shouldn't be to create a better experience for fans, more competitive games. And if it's not, then just say it. But you're an ass. Like, that, if that's what you think, like, if you want to get away with as little as you can get away with to get to the playoffs, and I understand, like, Michigan State fans would happily do that right now to get to the playoff and that sort of thing. I just hate it. I hate it. And I don't think I'm alone in hating it. And I wish more people would hate it. And I think it says something about your character if you don't hate it. Sorry, I'm getting fired up here. I apologize for fixed post.
Corey Ostrom next. Carlos Medlock Jr. is a big get for Izzo. I was at the state semifinals last March, and he and Torbert were the most impressive guards there. Yes, better than Trey McKinney. He is a 3-level scorer, a good defender, and a great athlete. And from David S., fully buying into Carlos Medlock Jr., and this kid will keep rising in the ranks, and we will be thankful to get in early on him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Tyler Eulis mistake, that you're learning from.
A Los we like. Can't wait. I mean, you like other Los.
Yeah. No, I've watched a fair bit of highlights on this, and I've read, some people have seen them a lot. No, crush tape would not be it. But, you try to learn what you can from highlights a little bit. And
how many videos do you have to watch for it to be considered crushing tape? Or, like, how much?
Well, to me, to crush tape, you can't watch highlights. It has to be games.
Oh.
Because crushing tape can't involve
there's a lot of guys not crushing tape out there
that say they're crushing tape. Yeah. Crushing tape is watching the full games because you have to see their strengths and weaknesses and know that their weaknesses aren't going to be something that limits them.
But with all the technology now, we can just,
Yeah, but
we're still crushing tape just at a faster,
Jason, if you played in a game, say you played in 17 competitive basketball games.
Pound the bushes.
Yeah. Let's go.
I could put together a 2-minute tape that made you look like a Division I prospect. Out of 17
from the bench.
Games. Well, you would have to be playing.
Oh,
yeah, that would be the challenge.
Yeah.
And by the way, I didn't mean to question Woody Username's character. That's not what I meant by that. I'm annoyed by the powers that be in college football that they want
to judge Woody Username's character.
I just don't. I'm annoyed by.
I'm sorry, Faucet Liquor. I didn't mean to judge you.
I just.
The dude said that in a real sentence, like he was a real person. Woody Username. I'm sorry.
I'm annoyed by the powers that be in college football, and I'm annoyed that they think it's okay.
All right. Skylar Verdon, Tyson Walker not making the league makes me like basketball less. Dude is a baller and a hard worker, but we are more obsessed with guys like Xavier Booker as a prospect because of height. I know it's how basketball works, but it still frustrates me.
Well, it shouldn't be in the college game to some degree because the college game is not the NBA game, especially now with NIL, with guys stick around longer and longer. A guard like Tyson Walker has great value. Now, Tyson Walker was a good mid-major freshman and then a great mid-major sophomore. Like and then he got an extra year because of COVID. Like his road to being a great Big Ten player was not immediate, just like. And obviously it wasn't for Xavier Booker. You don't want to stop recruiting Xavier Booker. Booker is an example of a guy where it didn't work. But a lot of guys built like Booker with, a lot of his tools and everything, it does work. And what Booker lacked was just sort of this part motor, but it wasn't. It was an aggressiveness more than a motor. It was like this, I don't want to say shying from contract.
He was like Pat Caputo applying for the LSJ job.
Boom. There it is.
Big John Hogg next. Number 1. Construction on 127 in Lansing is ass. Going to look nice when it's done, though. Whenever the hell that is. 2, Red Cedar message board Strayhorn conspiracy theories are about what you'd expect. Wildly entertaining, though. And 3, what's the most you do for a 10-win season? I'd buy season tickets seated between Chad Latz and Dominic's Hooker X.
Well, so I mean, yeah,
I'd do that for a 3-win season.
Yeah, so obviously you take a lesser schedule too if you do those things. And I totally get that. What's the most you think? What would you do for let's put this in Lions terms because I don't know what you do for an MSU 10-win season. Well, what would you do for an MSU 10-win season?
If I got to sit next to Chad Latz?
To the danger zone.
Yeah, you do that for nothing.
Fuck yeah, dude. You singing a Danger Zone at halftime?
Heading into twilight, spreading out her wings tonight.
Let's put it like this. Let's put it in
She got you
Lions terms.
jumping off the deck and shoving into overdrive.
See, we'd just be there together, man.
Highway.
Hitting that chest. All right, anyway.
If you could guarantee 15 Lions wins again in the regular season this year, setting up that postseason, hopefully without the injuries and everything, what would you give up? Who would you sit next? Let's put it this way: who would you sit next to?
Carlos Monterez.
Okay.
Do we get a bye again, or what are we going to do in the playoffs? Honestly, I know this sounds ridiculous, but dude, 15 wins, it doesn't matter to me anymore.
Yeah,
it really doesn't. I know that sounds crazy as a Lions fan to say that. It was great last year, but God, that Washington loss was really brutal. So, but I would sit next to Los. Like, what do you? So throw something terrible at me then.
All right,
Los give me hot takes all game. That's pretty ass. I mean, like
somebody who has flatulence like that person on a plane that you just go, what the hell, man? You know how it is. We've all been on that plane, and it's just constant for
guy dropping constant heat.
9 home games.
Ah. Why do these always have to suck, man?
Well, that's the whole
point.
point.
Yeah. I mean, what would I have to do about it? Like, I don't wear a mask or something.
Would
you
sign up for?
For the
team,
for the fans, for the team.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we going to do anything in the playoffs though? Because I got to say, I'm going to find that guy after he drops all that heat. If we don't go to the Super Bowl and win,
fair.
I got to say, this is for all those 9 games. Alex Mayer, if you are any bit confident in MSU's offensive line this season. Over 5.5 wins at -138, 7.5 wins plus 150, and 8 plus wins at +300 are all in play this season. 8 plus, all right.
But +300 is there value in that? We had the question in the last game about where's the value, and so if you look at the different lines for Michigan State, he's talking about adjusted lines that you can find on different sports books. Over 5.5 at -138. Again, you're playing a little juice, but it's just get to 6 wins. I think that's I think anything under -1. I think they're going to get to 6. So I think anything under -150.
But are you willing to bet $138 to win 100?
Sure. Yeah. Because you want to win 100. That's the whole idea of it.
Right, but I mean it's over a full season. You don't get paid out.
But here's the question: would you bet?
Grind.
Would you bet to win 100? Would you bet 78 or whatever the number is on the other end? To get to 100 under 5.5, would you feel good about that? Probably not. So, I'd rather win 100 either way. If I feel good about a bet, I'm okay with 138, and I would tell people that that's probably the way to go. 7.5 wins or 7 wins at +150. Yeah, I think just in terms from a value perspective,
would Jonathan Smith bet that?
I just don't think there's enough value there. I think the better value, if you're going to do value, is that they have a really good year, things go well, and they get to 8 at +300. I'm not saying they're going to get to 800, but if you're going to bet, if you're looking for value and you get +300 at 8,
good God,
I think that would be better value than 7 at 150.
I just feel you should be paid out better than +300 if you think that Michigan State's going to get to 8 wins. That's all.
But there are scenarios where you can see them getting there.
Understood.
Right.
But I just feel at +300, I'm like, ooh.
Again,
you're confident right now.
No, but you're putting 33 down to 100, right? So that's not. Yeah.
All right, Carl. Next, Michigan football +200 to make the playoff is a lock. Look at the schedule and find me 3 losses. They play one ranked team all year. With that being said, Couch, every time you listed as wins for MSU, Boston College, Minnesota, etc., their fans are also listing MSU as wins. LOL. Take the under, as Childs would say.
So, yeah, I'm sure those fan bases are, and I don't think I've ever listed those teams as wins. I've listed those as, toss-ups or games.
Wait, so is Carl saying that he went to Minnesota's to see if, Minnesota is claiming Michigan State as a win?
I'm sure they are, because I think their over-under is 7.5 or 6.5. It's better than Michigan State's, for sure. I'm just saying that's a game that's competitive. The Michigan State could win. When you look at do the Michigan point here, though. So my big thing with Michigan and why I wouldn't bet them, because what is it, -200 to make the playoffs? Is that what he said it is?
+200.
+200
for Michigan.
Playoffs. Well, this is a value thing. It's the idea of playing a season with a freshman quarterback. I think their depth of program, and again, you got to get to 9 wins to really have a chance. So let's go through their schedule real quick. They're at Oklahoma, September 6th. Road game, tough place. I'm not sure what Oklahoma will be this year. Nebraska on the road September 20th is a game. Like, I don't think much of Wisconsin October 4th, but Nebraska is a team I think could turn a corner this year. USC all the way out in L.A. These are college kids. I don't know what USC is going to be. Washington at home. Again, these are all games where when you're starting a true freshman quarterback who might wind up playing in the NFL, but it might wind up playing in the NFL in 3 years. Just the history of true freshman quarterbacks, there aren't a lot of them who don't make big mistakes. Then you're on the road at a rival like Michigan State. We've seen even in years where Michigan's the better team where that could go wrong. They're going to beat Purdue, obviously, at home. Northwestern's really bad. I don't think Maryland's good on the road, and Ohio State at the end. So games where it is even possible probably for Michigan to lose would be Ohio State, Michigan State, Washington, USC, Nebraska, Oklahoma. So there are 6 games where it's within the realm of possibility from 10% to 50% or whatever you want to do. So you can get to a situation where they wouldn't be in the playoff. It can hinge on a number of games, but Oklahoma for sure. Nebraska, I think early on is going to be one on the road. September 20th, I think is going to be one of their tougher games. And they do end favorably. I don't think Maryland's going to be good. Northwestern, not good, even though they're both on the road before Ohio State. So, yeah, I mean, the challenge is, again, freshman quarterback. And I just, plus 200, if that's what the number is, isn't horrible value. I would be nervous about that. Not that he's not going to be a good player. Just that that's a lot to rely on, and those things can go haywire.
I'm not talking about Michigan.
Mike Scott next. If the Tigers are worried that adding a bat or two would displace players like Vierling and McKinstry and Baez and Parker Meadows, then just trade Skubal, Vest, and Torres. That's the loser way of thinking. And if that's the case, what's the point of trying to win? And bonus, the Chiefs will not win the AFC West. Oklahoma will beat Michigan in Norman, and Nebraska is overrated again.
Nebraska is sort of like Michigan State's offensive line. Like, it's seeing is believing. Like, I do think in both cases, I think this is going to be a step-up year for them. But I like Matt Rule as a coach. To the first part, yeah, there is something to this. Like, the whole point of – like, think about this. The Tigers have an amazing opportunity right now. They're most likely going to be in the playoffs. They still have a decent chance, the way some other teams are falling around them right now, to get in is a top 2 team and get a bye. Now, if they keep playing 500 or less baseball the rest of the way, that's probably not going to happen for them. But the idea that, we've just seen teams get hot in the postseason. The idea of punting on an opportunity. When what happens if this winds up being the year it all comes together and they win a World Series? There have been years where they've been the best team in baseball and not won it. So why not take – and if they were to win it, like what the joy that would create. And I don't know. I tend to be – I'm not saying you have to be all in where you're giving up. There should be players that are untouchable beyond some ridiculous offer. But I also think that if you don't give – if you're just wasting time, and you are essentially – you're not just – it's almost worse than selling if you stand pat in some ways, because – if you're not going to win it if you stand pat. You don't have a bullpen that's going to give you any sort of shot in the postseason. And if you're going to do that, then why not build up for next season?
But are there guys out there that could put us over the edge? I know that there's names always mentioned. Sure. I mean, Suarez, at third base. But, there
are lots of good bullpen arms. And they need guys with strikeout pitches. They need guys who have get-out pitches, and they don't have enough of those guys.
Do you think Harris listens to offers for Skubal? Like, I would be I'm just so curious to know what some teams are offering for him right now. Yeah. J.C. Wills next. Are the Tigers sellers or buyers?
I don't think they'll be sellers. People that would really
stand patters.
I think they'll be slight buyers. If that makes sense.
America will be set on fire if they're sellers, though. Like, really?
Yeah, it'll be a tough.
What else do we know? Yeah. Why am I watching game in, game out?
No,
if we're selling this shit right now, come on. Suburban Spartan Dad, Spartan Dog Con seems like such a waste. Smith should invite back pros for the opening up of camp like Izzo does Grind Week. It should be such a cool experience and honestly a great PR play.
So it would be cool. There are a few problems with it. The timing. I mean, most pros are already in training camp when camp starts for college players. So that doesn't work from that perspective. The other thing with basketball is you have pickup games. Pros are willing to come play pickup games with college guys. Pros are not willing to, and nor are their NFL teams, let them scrimmage or whatever with college players. And nobody's that it's in a physical game like football. You might be able to work out together in weight rooms, and it's a harder sport time wise and the physicality of it to do. it would be cool if they could do something. I don't, but the other dynamic that the Grind Week has is Izzo, who's been, all those guys played for Izzo. He's been around for 30 years. So, you get a new coach. And I'm not saying you shouldn't invite guys. I'm not sure guys are looking forward to coming back and grinding it out right before the football season with their old college, on their old college campus.
Spartan Dog Con. Like, where is that held? I don't even know.
That's like a bunch of former players get together at, I don't know where, Jonathan Smith's house. It used to be at Mel Tucker's house. Maybe it's still at Mel Tucker's house. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
Definitely no time for that. Matt C, number one, Graham, you summed up media days perfectly on Friday's show. Bravo. It also seemed like all the coaches were asked to follow a script and take shots at the SEC. The Big Ten is so insecure. Why shouldn't we shouldn't stop scheduling tough games because the SEC plays 8 conference games? 2, Graham, I think it's a rational take to say Jonathan Smith should get 5 years, but if he doesn't beat Michigan this year with the way their players have been acting, he will lose all credibility with the fans and donors. He'll be gone. And 3, Graham, I've started asking ChatGPT how MSU's defense can improve under Rossi in year 2, and the answers were pretty impressive. You and your writer friends better step it up. I don't think a paywall can save you. Yeah. Well, Matt C., I don't know if you heard the third take from Couch to start the show, but I don't know if ChatGPT can give you that.
I don't even remember it. At this point, I blacked out, I think. Thankfully. I hope you blacked out listening. The ChatGPT it's definitely a factor, and it's a good tool. And if you're the thing you don't want to be is mediocre in an age with ChatGPT, which is a problem for me generally. But the only good thing about ChatGPT and AI writing all this stuff for people is it's also writing students' work right now, and nobody's actually getting good anymore. And so there's fewer young people to kick us old farts out because they haven't actually learned how to write properly. So we'll take that.
What do they need to learn for? Let's throw it in ChatGPT.
They're all going to be within 5 years. Everything will be back on the old blue books, writing out their essays and everything, because nobody can be trusted anymore.
Boy, Caputo, if you hate Benetti and Dirks, holy shit! Wait till you get a load of ChatGPT.
To the point 2 though, with Jonathan Smith should get 5 years, but if he doesn't beat Michigan, with their players, the way the players are acting, he'll lose all credibility with fans and donors, and he'll be gone. I think there are 2 separate things. One, there's the reality and the logistics of the financial logistics of his contract and the time I think he'll get. Now, you can lose credibility with fans, and donors are a little different. It's a smaller group, right, that you need to keep on your side. I think it's how the game goes and how you react to it. So you could lose to Michigan this year in a game that you feel spited or it's competitive, and how you react matters in terms of the credibility. I mean, think about D'Antonio is the great example of this. We've seen, but Mel Tucker and others have done it pretty well at times. How you treat the Michigan rivalry. It's where John L. Smith, not just the Michigan rivalry, but the way he acted like Michigan State couldn't compete with Michigan and Ohio State physically and had to run a gimmick offense. Like, your words matter in this case. And they mattered last year, and I think they hurt Jonathan Smith a little bit. When I talk John L. Smith, I'm talking different Jonathan Smith. But point being, if he comes out and meets the fan base where they are after a loss, you could have a situation where Michigan's a more seasoned football program, a better team still. It's a competitive game. They lose, but people feel like it matters to him and it hurts him and he's where they are. And I think that would really matter this year.
MCV, number 1, interstate college football rivalries should be played annually, regardless of conference affiliation. And bonus, unless you're enrolled in college and are on your way to class, take off your pajamas and put on some fucking pants.
People walking around in pajamas is the problem.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
That's when you go through a store and
I think, gosh, I just wish in-state stuff was prioritized. Obviously, traditional rivalries. The college football is a sport that's made by the fans as much as any other sport. Like, it really is, and it's supposed to be for the fans. And there's a lot of things going on right now that aren't for the fans, that they don't love. One thing you continue to do is schedule for them and create a system in the postseason that is built for them. And that includes another round of home playoff games in the postseason, at least through the quarterfinals. That includes encouraging good matchups and Power 5 matchups. And that encourages, and then when you're going to play weak teams, do it in state. When you're going to do lesser teams, do it against teams where there's family ties. And obviously people are mad at CMU right now or at Michigan State. But that, I do not get why the fans which make this sport, which fund the sport, which have made this sport there's just so much ridiculous passion behind it. Like, they should be so much more of a priority than they seem to be right now.
Corey Ostrom, MSU football will be one of the Big Ten surprise teams. The media has largely been dismissive of MSU, and Coach Smith and the staff has displayed a quiet confidence. Both signs of a team under the radar. The depth acquired in the offseason will be the difference in a 7-5 season.
Yeah, I think they do have decent depth. I think one of the things that Jonathan Smith brought up was the idea they had 70 guys back, right? Last year you had a group of guys who were sort of, I think, saying the right things, players who were looking for something, a different experience than they just had, but they weren't recruited by Smith. They didn't sign up for this. Well, now if you come back for year 2, you're sort of signing up for this, right? It's sort of, you're all together. I do think there's better depth in the program. I don't know whether there's difference makers at certain spots on defense that are necessary to really have a great year, but I think there are some difference makers on offense. I think they should be better at the line of scrimmage up front. And again, you want to say seeing is believing. And if it doesn't happen this year, I promise to never even think that's a possibility again.
John Johnson, Graham's take on preseason polls is correct. However, he might be the last person we want carrying the torch. The MF speaks with such certainty on all subjects. He seems like the perfect candidate to submit a preseason poll and be convinced he nailed it without any second guessing. And bonus, you guys need to have a listeners are asked questions show in July. I am new, but have so many questions regarding Dominic's horror girlfriend, Lat's on the pod, Jason's friend he met at Jimmy John's, and what Jason was like in his 20s, Matt C., and who radicalized him, et cetera, et cetera.
A tutorial for the new listeners.
Who made Matt C. great? Yeah. I need to find that person.
Yeah, we could do. The problem is, I guess we could answer some of these questions. I don't know where we are on. I mean, I know some details of Dominic's situation that I don't know if you'd want out there. We'd have to leave it up to him.
I don't know.
Yeah,
he gives a lot, I guess.
He does give us quite a bit. I'm sure he'd be willing to share some. The to the first part though, and I have many flaws in life, and I'm sure of many things I'm wrong about. But the one thing I have always been, I think, because I did the for a long time, most people listen here know I did the AP basketball poll for years and wrote a column about it. And one of the things I did is I put a lot of time into it on Sundays, and I also watched a lot of basketball, and I redid my poll each week, and I had all sorts of standards for road games and other things, and I wouldn't just look at what the rankings were to try to fall in line. It was, if I thought a team was really good, I put them up there, like Buffalo, and the year that Nate Oates was coaching them, and they were a great
left
team.
Duke off.
If you didn't play a true road game by a certain point in December, until you did, you weren't eligible for my ballot, and I just felt that was only fair. So I would be the one thing I would be very good at if I had the time these days to do it would be changing my poll week to week, changing the ballot and giving based on information that had just happened, new data, and so I think I would be good at that. The problem with these ballots and these polls is a lot of the people who vote don't see that many games. Basketball is very different than football, but in football, if you're covering a team, I mean that's like a 10 to 14 hour day most Saturdays. You might see one other game, and so the idea that you have any concept of what the rest of college football looks like week to week, and then on your I won't say a day off, but it's supposed to be a lighter day Sunday, do you have 4 to 8 hours to really put into it? Because that's what I think it takes to do well. This is why I think the Jack Eblings of the world, people who are retired or national writers who don't have purpose,
Caputo,
or any of these people, who could be like, you could put a group of 30 people together and say, you're going to do these polls, and you're supposed to watch as much football as you can and put a lot of time into it, and maybe it's even a paid gig at some level, because it is a big investment. And unless you're going to pay people, it's too much of an investment to ask. When I was doing it, my wife was still living in Chicago. and I had a lot of time on my hands to watch college basketball, and I hadn't discovered Mexican soccer and all that stuff, I wouldn't do it anymore, because even in basketball. In football, I would never do it because I just think it's irresponsible, because I don't think I would see enough of the sport to have an educated opinion.
Jay Riemenschneider next. I still can't get the MSU, OSU fans' impassioned outcry that Michigan must be punished. It's almost at the point where it seems it's actually affecting them personally. As much as I hate MSU and Ohio State, I truthfully wouldn't care at all about them getting punished if the roles were reversed.
And you're probably not alone. And there are Michigan State fans who probably don't care all that much about what happens to Michigan. They may, hope there's a little something there for them. But there are a lot who do. And I think it's just each their own. And some people, there are a lot of Michigan State fans who care as much about Michigan suffering as they do about the joy they get from Michigan State. And that, and there are Michigan fans who feel the same way. And it's just people are different in their passion for their school. And I think it's more so with Michigan State just because of the nature of that relationship.
Professor next. Riley Green shaving his beard as a slump buster will become a piece of legendary Tigers lore after they win the World Series this season. And bonus, Jason on Friday's pod was on fire. Please repeat that level of MGs going forward.
Boy, I thought we struggled Friday. But
I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, my friend Jordan said Friday's show was good as well, and I was like, I didn't take any MGs. I wish I could say MGs were the reason for it, but I think back on the show because they are 2 hours, right? I just thought, I'm like, was it good? Okay, good. Because I don't really remember most of it.
Sometimes I think we shouldn't do a shows in July because I'm paying a lot less attention, and when we get these detailed questions and I haven't been paying any attention to something, and I sound like a jackass because I sound dismissive. That's what I felt like. I felt like I was dismissive of some.
For what question? On Friday?
Yeah, there were just a number of questions that I just didn't have answers to. Partly because I'm just sort of been.
Why are you being so hard on yourself?
Well, because we want people take time to invest in our show and write in and be part of it, and I was sort of like
spend 1,000 of these. They're not going to be all bangers,
All bangers.
Well, I'm just saying. You have 1,000 shows that are awesome. I don't know. Treese next. Number 1, Riley shaving his beard should be against the law. She was not happy. 2, loved Happy Gilmore 2 more than expected. Knowing most of the golfers and Travis Kelce made it incredible. And Bake Take, this shit got me religious is the new summer banger from Jason is what broke the Tiger slump, not the mustache.
All right, fill me in.
Well, I've been debating on whether or not, and I did post a new Couch in the Rube Open because I've been messing with AI music.
I like it.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was wondering if, the listeners, if they, because I love the Doug Open. I love our Open. I love the Standard Open. But I was wondering, so I started doing some AI stuff with music.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was probably longer than we'd want it to be, but it was really good.
It's 2 minutes long.
Yeah. It's 2 minutes long.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of tweaking with stuff. So I ended up pouring some MGs Friday night on top of this and got into some more songs. And it's not done yet. I didn't really want her to say that out loud, but I've been making some songs. So this shit got me I've just been writing some songs and putting it together on AI.
You've been writing songs.
Well, AI helps me. But I write the hook. Like, this shit got me religious.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm telling you, it's really good. It can't be any worse than some of this shit I hear. Like I love Tyler, the Creator, and he came out with some new stuff. I guarantee you could not tell if it was his or mine. NBA Youngboy or whatever. Like, I heard one of his songs, like Drew Lane on his podcast play one of the NBA Youngboy songs. I guarantee you couldn't tell the difference between mine and NBA Youngboy, and this guy has 19 million listeners or something like that. So anyway,
what did you think of Happy Gilmore 2?
I loved it. We laughed out loud. I thought it was. I thought it was a great time. I don't know what people wanted from it.
Well, that's the thing. So I thought the first half was outstanding. I didn't love I didn't love the second half. It wasn't like I hated it. I enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting cinematic brilliance, but it wasn't at the level of the first one. And I don't know.
Really? When's the last time you saw the first one?
Pretty recently, actually, because I think they were prepping for this. It's been on, flipping through, like you can do when you still have Xfinity Comcast. Like when you have Xfinity, you don't have to actually oh shit, I gotta change my password and go to something else. It's like boom, 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 and I was flipping through, and there it was, and I watched Happy Gilmore, and I watched, I would say, most of the last hour of it.
Right.
And I don't know. Yeah,
but I mean, it's an Adam Sandler movie, and you
Correct.
remember the first one was absolutely ridiculous. And
Yeah.
a part of me, the first half hour of it goes, okay, what this plot line here? What's kind of,
And I
but then I go, that's the point of this thing. You're supposed to just drop everything, laugh your dick off, have a good time.
And the
go to
actual,
bed,
I got to say, the real golfers using them, and they were decent actors for
Oh
the
my
most
God,
part.
dude,
They were
Zalatoris,
fantastic.
Willie Z was stole the show.
They were so good.
Xander Schauffele, yeah.
That was nice. I did enjoy
I thought it was what it's an Adam Sandler flick. It's just like you lose your mind for 2 hours, and then I don't know. I laughed through it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know you were have to take it so seriously. It wasn't close to the first one. It's like, all right, Ken Chu, it's hotter than a half fucked fox in a forest fire.
Yeah, it's miserable. It's been rough. I'm hoping that rain
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, it's not.
Thankfully, Couch got doused walking in here because he couldn't wait 10 minutes in his car.
I wanted to get started. I want to keep the people waiting.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, Couch has to get here. Rocco in Chicago. Number one, the Rube has really fallen into using just going to sit there and... what did I say? The excitement for football from the Lions kicking off this week is quickly replaced by the long days of waiting for August to pass by. And 3, Michigan's game in Germany will be a shameless infomercial for whichever coach replaces Sharon Moore.
So the challenge of football season is always that hurry up and wait. Like you get to the beginning of practice, and this happens with MSU, happens with the Lions, happens with everything, and there is a moment of excitement. The initial storylines, you see the helmets again. It's like, oh, it's here, but it's not here. it's like a month away still, and it takes a long time. Camp is long. There's no question about it.
Jebediah next. Number one, Tigers will win the AL Central by 10-plus games, but will still be the second or third best team in the AL. And bonus, being vastly disappointed in Happy Gilmore 2 30 years after the original aired is like being vastly disappointed drinking breast milk 30 years after you were born. You're not 12 anymore. What did you expect? Yeah. Couch. What did you expect?
No, but, like I go back and watch...
Second hour, kind of dipped.
I go back and watch like Home Alone, for example, and still find it funny, even though I'm not 12 anymore.
Really?
You don't find Home Alone funny?
I mean, laugh out loud funny? Like,
there's some moments.
The brick in the face.
Well, the brick in the face is something I no longer find
but
quite
laugh
as funny.
out loud, you go, ha, ha. I mean, come on. Christmas Vacation. I mean, I love that movie, but I've seen it 9,000 times. I don't know if I laugh out. Like, Shitter's Full. Oh, Shitter's Full.
And not everything. It's funny how certain things don't age. The brick in the face on Daniel Stern in Home Alone 2 is one of those things that it wouldn't do today because it would like encourage, because kids, the problem is kids would copy it today. Kids are stupid today. Like we may not have worn bike helmets and understood certain like just basics of trying to survive, but we understood that when you go to a movie and you see somebody take a brick and throw it 3 stories down and hit somebody in the face, and it's like snot out of your nose funny, that's only for the movies. We understood that back
but
then.
what kids were watching that? I mean, only the shitty kids were watching that and going, I'm going to go throw a brick at someone's face. I saw it and was like, oh, my God, I can't do that to an adult.
That's what I mean. Back then, we understood it. I'm saying today's kids, there would be incidents if they had that. There would be kids doing, they just don't
watching TikTok. Anyway, Rich, I sound like Pat Caputo. Richard Kane, Jay Batt's first big initiative will be selling the naming rights at Spartan Stadium. Look for something like he did at Jatech. Groovy Donuts Field at Spartan Stadium. Or maybe we listeners can start a GoFundMe so we can get it named Couch in the Rube Field. Bonus. Free agency didn't ruin the NFL, and it won't ruin college sports either. Transfer chaos will settle when teams eventually start signing players to multi-year deals. What will ruin it is pricks like Tony Petitti demanding
automatic qualifiers.
AQs, as it says here, and not giving a shit about the sport as a whole.
Yeah. And that's the thing these commissioners have to understand is, and everybody has to understand, you are a steward of a team. It is not yours. You are a steward of a sport. It is not yours. It needs to be stronger 10 years from now than it is today. That is part of your job. And nothing you do that doesn't go toward that is you doing your job. And nothing, because it's something you think would be cool, if it doesn't serve the greater sport in the long term, you're not doing your job, and you shouldn't be in your job. That's my argument for it. Now, the automatic qualifiers thing that Petitti has, and people aren't familiar with that. He wants the idea that like the Big Ten and SEC would get 4 teams in automatically, the Big 12 and ACC would get 2, and then there'd be a couple spots. But the problem with that is you can't predetermine which league is better. It's just from a competitive advantage, or it just doesn't make sense. It's not from a competitive fairness perspective. It doesn't make sense. There are years where the Big Ten is not going to be better than the Big 12. It shouldn't automatically get more teams in. The fact that you want that is just fucking ludicrous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now, the idea of automatic qualifiers on their own, I don't necessarily hate. But everybody's got to get the same in the Power 4, and there's got to be room for other people. So if you want to have 3 automatic qualifiers, if you want to have 4, you got a 20-team playoff. But if you want to have 3, you could do that, and it would create some really intense, games at the top of the Big Ten. The problem is the Big Ten's always going to get 3 in. If you want to have, you just can't. You don't get to have more than somebody else just because you're the Big Ten. Like nobody's going to stand for that, and you have to understand that. If you don't understand that, again, you can't be in the job. It's that simple. You can have a lot of other good ideas. If you can't understand that principle, you cannot be the commissioner of the Big Ten, or you shouldn't be the commissioner of the Big Ten. We'll see whether free agency ruins college sports and how it affects people's connection to their teams. College sports are different than if the closest thing we have to European football is college sports, and over there, one of the ways they get around this, is the idea that smaller clubs or different size clubs sell players up, right? You make a lot of money. So if you lose a transfer, you make money for that guy, and so that maybe that's part of the answer. I don't know. I think the transfer chaos is a problem long term in terms of fan and investment and everything like that. The naming rights thing with Jay Batt, I think at some point you will see that. I mean, he obviously did it at Georgia Tech. It was something that Alan Haller was already talking about publicly a year ago at Michigan State. So I think it's on the horizon.
BPA next. The fact Jay Batt is like the 5th highest paid state employee and hasn't sat down for an interview with anyone besides his donors is insane. We are the Pyongyang of the Big Ten. Also, please don't say, I hope to sit down with him this week. No, I hope to sit down with him this week.
So in fairness
I should sit down with him this week.
In fairness to Jay Batt, and I've reached out to try to to sit down with him, or at least
he have your number?
Group.
Does he know who's calling?
No, he would not. I don't have his number. In fairness to him, I have missed every single opportunity when he has been available to this point. Like, he gets hired, bad timing. I had a pre-scheduled vacation with my mom and sister in Canada. Wasn't going to skip that, right? And then I didn't go to Big Ten Media Days, and he was there and talked for a little bit. Now, at some point, you're right. He should sit down with a group of us. He should sit down with me. He should make himself available, and he's the athletic director, and I think he will. I'm not worried about that because, frankly, I've been off for a good chunk of the summer, and most of the people who cover the team for any reputable site, this is their time to be off. And so if they were going to do any group thing, they wouldn't have done it now. I don't find any fault in that yet. I think it's something that probably needs to be done before the end of August.
Thomas next. The only structural upgrade Spartan Stadium needs is an awning like Washington or Baylor has. It's getting too nasty in there for early season midday games to be enjoyable.
So it's just too hot, is what you're saying? It's too nasty.
Yeah, you got to remember, you're talking to a guy that's in an air-conditioned unit with a giant piece of glass up there.
Yeah.
So Graham has no idea what you're talking about.
I do wish the glass was gone.
Is it hot down there?
I like the open air press box.
Does it get cold or hot? Is it hot or cold right now?
No, but if you've seen Washington's, it's a great stadium, and you're right. If you had that awning over the crowd like soccer stadiums have, and like Washington has,
there's no way an awning could hurt.
Right.
Yep. Sparty Barb next. Number 1, Nick Marsh is a class act. His comments at Big Ten Media Days without building a foundation and a brotherhood and family speak to his character and dedication. Spartan dog for life. And 2, Jay Batt needs to make sure that Nick Marsh gets paid. Take care of your own. And 3, a great food spot in Lansing is Ruckus Ramen, located on Michigan Ave in the iconic Avenue Bar. Amazing ramen and delicious weekly specials. Was this a live read? Sparty Bar?
Well done, Sparty Bar.
Yeah. Is this a live?
Well done.
And bonus, shout out to Graham's mom for a speedy recovery.
I appreciate that, Sparty Barb. I have actually been to this and this place in the Avenue Bar, Ruckus Ramen. It's very good. And appreciate the.
But not as good as.
Well, no, it's no Front 43 and Cask and Company or Midtown Brewing Company, which, by the way, has also has trivia every Tuesday. It's a great place for a date night. If you're downtown Lansing and you get hit by, a deluge of rain like we just did, then it's a great place to dip inside, have a drink, have a meal. It's great character to it, and your significant other will know you put effort into picking a spot when you go to a place with the character and menu of Midtown Brewing Company here in downtown Lansing. The Nick Marsh comments about, from Media Day about him, money isn't everything. First of all, Nick Marsh is getting paid a decent amount. Now, this is going to be the challenge, though, because as you budget and try to hang on to your top people, there will sometimes be higher bidders, and that's why you have to create an experience. Now, you may sometimes have to match that bidder, and it'll be interesting what outside NIL is allowed to do and able to do, and I think it's going to be quite a bit to supplement what you get from the revenue sharing to help keep players like that in the future. Because what you don't want to do, it's one thing not to land an elite player, but when you do get them and you develop them or they come as talented as Nick Marsh was, you want to make sure you keep them and get the duration of their career. That should be the absolute priority in my in my estimation. Also, appreciate the shout out to my mom. Steve Isbister also asked last Friday how she was doing, and said he was 9 days post-op for right knee replacement and was able to walk a mile. She is not there, but I told her about you, Steve, and so the expectations have been raised. We had a number of Groovy Donut Twitter questions we didn't get to last week that we're not going to get to today. We just have so many hot takes. It's going to kill the flow of the show, and I apologize. So some dude who had one more, Steve, Couch on Fire, Christian, Lions Reply Guy, Richard Kane, Patty Eves, Hans Jurgen, Upper Deck Jerk Guy, many of whom are still included in the remaining hot takes. Apologize, and thank you for
I wanted to do them just to clarify.
Yes, I told Jason to bugger off.
Whoa, language.
Yeah.
Ralph E. next. Number 1, I get excited about an Izzo pledge as college hoops recruits tend not to flip. And 2, I wonder if your mom listens to your shows.
She does not, thankfully. The show would not happen if she existed. But look, I don't even know if she knows how to listen. So we're going to keep it that way.
She doesn't listen to any podcasts or anything?
We've showed her a couple times, but then she was on vacation with my sister this summer, and my sister texted and said, Mom just realized what an app is. And so I don't know. I'm a little concerned about, I don't know what she was doing before. She thought she was listening to podcasts, but I don't know that she was. I don't know what she was listening to. So to your first point, though, I think a basketball pledge is much closer to a commitment than football. We just see it. And it's something to do a comparative analysis on, I should say. But yeah, I mean, who recruits? In basketball, they tend not to continue to be recruited. People tend to respect the commitment a little more, and players tend to wind up going to the place. It doesn't always happen. We've seen it at Michigan State where guys change their mind, but it's a much more likelihood that they're going to have an impact at the school they originally commit to.
Original Dark Mantonio, if your school has the NIL budget to land almost any recruit they want, I would trust more the tenured coaching staff's evaluation on recruits and not solely focus on the recruiting rankings.
Oh, I mean, this is D'Antonio's special. I think this is something that, and this is Mel Tucker's staff too. Like, and certainly with Jonathan Smith. I mean, this is something they did well at Oregon State. You cannot, if you live on what other people think. I think more valuable than rankings are offer lists. To be honest with you, when you look at who else is interested in a player, that sometimes is telling, but not every time. Sometimes you discover guys before other people. Sometimes you get in on them early. Sometimes you see something that somebody else doesn't. And I think having people who, your ability to trust your staff and trust your own eyes is really important to the job.
Andrew Zawiza. Next, there will be contracts now this college season. You can't just pay someone a large amount of money without specifying the terms of the payment, such as payments are dispersed weekly and will be made as long as you don't violate team rules, push someone down the stairs, transfer before the bowl game, etc. And bonus, Big Ten season total best bets. MSU over 5.5. From last year, the offense will be far better, and the defense will be worse. Which is worth at least a win. In Oregon, under 10.5, new quarterback. They'll lose to Penn State and F up somewhere else. And Nebraska, over 7.5 wins. I think they break through a bit this season.
There are a lot of, at the top of the Big Ten, there are a number of 10.5s over. Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State. Not everybody can go, 10.5 over. So it's interesting who you think is going to win those matchups. I think they're a little dicey. I don't think there's great value on a lot of the overs, just because you could see how they could. Just takes one slip somewhere, and then there's a number of really tough games for them. I tend to think this is Nebraska's year to go over. The one that I keep staring at is Northwestern's down at 3.5. And I know they go to, I think, Tulane at the beginning, who has a new quarterback, the BYU guy, and they're underdogs there already. It's like, can they not get to 3.5? They play they got Purdue, I think. They have a couple FCS type teams. Man, can they not find one other win? Maybe not. I stare at 3.5 and go, I want to take that.
Do you want to do that to yourself?
I don't know. I don't know if I actually
just staring at 3.
actually do.
Oh no. Lions reply guy, not a take. But since the Lions start this week, Jason, do you have any good stories about Lions games? Any fights you've seen, etc.? LOL. I got to say, we've been very lucky at the ones that I've been to. It's definitely great people watching, but there's never been any. There was some Rams fans during the playoff game when we beat the Rams, and Stafford's wife, Kelly, brought the kids and was absolutely floored that they were booed. So there was some Rams fans down below us a little bit, but it didn't escalate into anything crazy.
It's funny because people talk about sometimes fearing sort of the drunken atmosphere of an NFL game.
Yeah,
I've been to a lot of NFL games. I went to a lot as a kid even, and don't remember ever feeling unsafe or being around a fight that felt like it was in my face.
Do you know when it gets there's a way it gets heated when if you stand up, if you're in the lower bowl, like a lot of these people that have been in the lower bowl as season ticket holders in that area, they don't want you to really stand up during plays or something. Like there's a hierarchy of like people, depending on where we have sat, we have had people tell us to sit down. Like the Lions-Rams playoff game, we were sitting at the 50-yard line and those seats were effing expensive. And we were, Jordan and I were standing up, and all of a sudden I heard a guy go, "Hey, sit down up there." And so I did immediately, because that's my thing now, and don't drink anymore, so I'm not looking for shit. But then I'm like, well, wait a minute. We paid a lot of money for these seats, and I look back at the guy. I'm like, I'm fucking standing, dude. I don't care what you say. So there has been that escalation a little bit of.
What was his response?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, you're big guy.
Well, no, but you can look me up and down and go, this guy isn't smart, so he's probably going to do something. But I'm not. I wouldn't. But I'm just saying, come on. You can't sit there and patrol and tell people when to stand and when to sit, and when the offense is on there, you got to be quiet.
Story worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company.
I wish I would have seen some fight. I definitely want to get my phone out, record some of those if that happened. Kurt Wisniewski, number 1, donuts are to be enjoyed any time of the day. And 2, the Tigers started their comeback Sunday with a 10-4 victory over Toronto. The Tigers will finish 99-63 and get a bye to the 2025 ALDS.
Boy, getting a 99 win seems like a long way from
But
now.
Kurt, were you really, that 10-4 victory, though, it just gave you a warm feeling inside? I was still like, Because even with our bullpen, I understand we had a substantial lead, but I didn't like the way we ended that game. And really, with Scherzer, we couldn't hit against Scherzer whatsoever. So,
and the problem with Flaherty is he looked very good. And he's looked very good a few times. And he's looked not very good quite a few times. Yeah. And there's such a high variance with him that when you get to the postseason, they're going to have to throw him, I would think. Well, maybe not in a 3-game series, depending on what Reese Olson is doing by then. But, you can't trust it. And it's one of my problems with the baseball postseason being any series being under 7 games is there's so many players in baseball that you can't trust. There's so many Jack Flaherty, so many pitchers that there's just a high degree of variance that you don't want randomness deciding series. Like, to me, you should have, the longer the series, the more the true strength of teams, and one bad outing. And maybe Flaherty just stinks. And that should be something that punishes the Tigers, and they shouldn't get one great outing that gets them down to the next series. I don't know. I don't trust Flaherty. Happy for the Tigers that he had a great round, or a great performance, though.
Tyler, the Tigers' losing streak will end up with a turnaround in mojo and ultimately a better place for the playoff push. Hey, listen, Tyler. Positive thoughts.
Yep.
Can't get mad at it.
Yep.
Parker Weiss next. The MLB trade deadline should be a week later than it is, or at least 3 to 4 days later. And bonus, seeing a movie in theaters is still a great experience. Went to see Superman this weekend and haven't been in a few years. Movies come out too quickly these days.
I mean, come out of theaters. In other words,
come out. Yeah.
It used to. That used to be one of the part of the problem they have now is that right? It's like wait 3 weeks and it's out on Netflix or something else instead of.
Yeah, but with streaming, it's hard. You can't leave that movie in a theater for very long. And by the way, if you see a movie, like there's movies that I see a preview for and I go, I need to see that in a theater.
And there are
not many though.
Haven't been enough of those. I don't think I've been to a movie in 5 years.
Dude, you should.
Yeah, I know.
I'm telling you, it's great.
Yeah.
C-Dubs 91, reasonable. The Tigers' slump has coincided with playing 3 of the best teams in the AL and facing Skeens. They will be fine as long as they get another reliever. And hot, the wave should be banned during live gameplay. Save it for between innings and timeouts, etc. And baked, pissing on a toilet seat in a public restroom and not cleaning it up is the most disrespectful thing a man can do to another man.
I don't understand why you do it. That's what I don't get. It's just, I understand that can be a drunk situation where you don't realize it. But if you're sober, it just seems like an asinine thing to do. To the first part, when you do look at the Tigers' schedule, you feel better about things. There are some difficult series in there, but there are a lot of series against teams and teams that are probably going to be sellers that you feel like the Tigers are going to be favored to win the series. And again, they got off to such a great start. If they can fight 500 ball the rest of the way, they're going to be fine. And nobody in that division is going to catch them if the Tigers play 500 ball themselves the rest of the way.
Couch on fire. I think we can all agree that this Tigers bullpen is atrocious. One of the reasons we had such a strong finish last year and a hot early start has gone to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, bullpens are so hard to predict for year to year, and that's the when you get a great one, you don't want to waste it too. That's the other thing. In some ways, if the Tigers had a great bullpen right now, I'd be inclined to say like you have to really go for it because you don't know what next year is going to be. A la this year, it hasn't worked out. Like when you get a great bullpen, man, and sometimes it's the same pitchers year to year become unreliable. They get hurt. Great bullpens, man. Don't waste those.
Mr. Neurotic Pants, number one, I wholeheartly agree that Jason and Graham should endorse ED treatments. I would love to see the billboards with Jason and his wife on the beach and a little blue pill at the side. Graham would have his own billboard, making a thumbs up gesture. 2, Jonathan Smith will only eat vanilla ice cream.
Oh, man.
Like, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. It just seems like if you're going to be the face
of ED.
Yeah. Remember Jimmy Johnson in those commercials back in the day?
Yeah, but I don't think there'd be less of them for it, though.
Yeah, but there was always like, oh, Jimmy Johnson's got ED. That sucks. And how much money did Jimmy Johnson, the coach, need?
Well, yeah, they were probably paying him more than the $10,000 it would cost to get me.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you have Jimmy Johnson money and you're going, oh, they're going to offer me money for an erectile dysfunction thing, but I'm going to be known as the erectile dysfunction coach.
Well, all right. Well, what is the number for you to be known as the erectile dysfunction guy in this country? How much would it cost?
I don't think I'm the right one to ask, though, because I would end up, if you put the money in front of me, I'd probably do it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like $10,000 would it be enough?
No, like $1 million.
Oh, that's a lot. I would do it for a lot less.
Of course. I'm saying if I was a coach, if I was Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, I think he probably, got like $150,000 or something.
Right.
The Brent Jurgensen of Southern Maine next. The lengths Graham will go to avoid being critical of the media that covers Michigan athletics is positivity. Fuck me. Trump supporter like. Positively.
So the difference is I don't want to say that. I got to be careful here because
I'm not talking about Michigan.
I want to say I'm coming from a place of ignorance, but you could argue that what I mean is I don't see a lot of the stuff, so I'm hesitant to be critical about stuff I don't know.
But you know.
But I also know these people, and I know. So in other words, the instances that fire people up about the things that aren't covered or a column that isn't written, I often just don't see or I missed it or and that's where I'm hesitant to be critical of something and I don't know the circumstances behind it or I don't know, again, you're right. I am probably slow to criticize my own brethren than I am other people. I mean, that said, I used to write a couch counter-take column that just rip people's takes.
Bring it back.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Bring back the couch counter take column and just rip takes that I don't like or takes that are lacking.
Yep.
Maybe that's it.
Need it. Benjen. Greetings from Bucharest.
We missed one. Pablo.
Fuck, I'm sorry, Pablo. I was excited about Benjen, apparently. Pablo Ciccone. Number one, how can Michigan not be the greatest state, especially Midwestern state? We have the Great Lakes, the woods. We have legal weed, MSU Spartans. What do other states have? Seriously. What could be good about Kansas, Indiana? I'm fresh off a trip to Crystal Lake and an absolutely dandy of a day. And bonus, Graham talked up the blueberry cheesecake donuts so much, it's all I could think about from Wednesday's show to Saturday, only to find out the power took that dream from me. What the fuck? Free vouchers for Couch of the Rube listeners, or I'm fucking done.
I think we did mention that you should pay attention to the socials of Groovy Donuts, and I tried to share those as well because their power kept them out of service until Sunday. They were open Sunday, and it is a shame. I mean, that should be like the number one priority of consumers' energy to get that up ASAP. But very much appreciate you wanting to support them, and that my live reads are getting through. I feel the same way about Michigan, and I think a lot of us do here. It's just like you look other places and you go, God, that must suck. And
it's like, why go a state over? Or when you go travel, if you're going to do like a 4 or 5 day thing, just stay in the state. It's beautiful here.
Absolutely.
I love it. Now, Mr. Benjen, greetings from Bucharest. Bucharest? All right. Number one, I'm so bored. You're talking women's European soccer? What are we even doing here? And what's the biggest indictment on baseball's failings to be compelling? And two, my biggest issue with baseball, the only sport where one side can score at a time. And three, the solution, a defender who fields a ball in play that has to run to a bag the hitter is attempting to reach. If he wins, that's a run. Think how valuable a double in the right field corner is now.
Yeah, I'm okay with baseball without that rule. But
don't you think like a salary cap, I know it'll never happen, we've talked about it, but a salary cap would change baseball to a point where I think it would give a lot more fans.
It would be better.
They would want to invest in that team knowing that everybody has a fair shot.
I think a salary cap would overall improve interest in the sport.
Right.
I don't know. Now, the Players Union is never going to go for that.
No.
But the other thing is, there are a lot of leagues that are dropping the ball. MLS right now has time off before this League's Cup starts, and not even every team's in the League's Cup. Like the Chicago Fire, not in the League's Cup. So they have like 2 weeks off in the middle of the summer where they don't even have anything for their – I mean, it's just asinine. Like, I'm sorry, and every sport should take advantage of this window. Like there are too many nights right now where you turn on Xfinity, you're flipping through channels, and you go to what's offered. If you're streaming Xfinity like I do, and I go to what's offered in sports, and we're so close to there being so many great offerings, but there's a week or two where it's not great, and that's an indictment on the sports that are going right now. You should fill that time. You should try to bring in new fans, and they don't do it well.
Mojo Jojo, July take. Only thing worse than the Tigers going 2-13 since the All-Star break is re-engaging with Midwest humidity and heat waves. WTF did I leave Graham's favorite city and climate for? An obvious take. The quality of life raised after moving from San Francisco, Graham's favorite city, to Chicago, where Graham killed that guy via stairs, Capone style, is essentially the difference in Graham's blood sugar pre and post a Groovy Donut dozen.
So many things are wrong in that. I mean, the guy fell down the stairs without me in Kalamazoo, not in Chicago.
Right.
So I had nothing to do with that. I'm just saying that for the record, for legal purposes.
Yeah.
And obviously he's joking about San
Statute of
Francisco.
Limitations is over now. I mean, you can.
Yeah, San Francisco. Now there's
that teardrop tattoo.
If you don't like humidity, go to San Francisco in the summer. It's like 37 and windy.
Our Ron L. Hubbard of the Cupboard next. Number one, in regards to Friday's show about value in betting, the easiest way to understand is the probability of the event occurring compared to the price of the bet. Getting plus 200 on a heads, tails is incredible value. 2-to-1 price with probability of 50% is great return on investment, even though it might not always win. And two,
well said.
Drove to Groovy Donuts Saturday morning for my daughter's 7th birthday because some jackass podcaster told me it should be open by then and had to settle for another unnamed donut maker off Michigan Ave. And three, Graham, my daughter's public school in Lansing completely eliminated any school sports, and you have to pay to play now. For championing LPS, why don't you write something?
Lansing Public Schools. Yeah, a couple things. One, Lansing did not have organized public schools, did not have organized sports for kids when I was there. So I didn't even realize they existed in the first place. But I'm curious why they eliminated them. I'd like to know more details. Please DM me. And I'm curious where they eliminated sports. Like, I don't know if you need organized sports through public schools under middle school age, but I'd like to know more on why this happened. And apologies for the. I appreciate everybody storming Groovy Donuts, and I'm sure they were. I mean, I can only imagine the amount of business lost on almost a full weekend after that storm for them.
Munfield Keg next. We are coming up on almost 2 full years since the infamous Stallions CMU game. I know it got lumped into the broader Stallions case, but you can't convince me that if this was an OSU assistant on the Michigan sideline or Auburn assistant on the Bama sideline, that there wouldn't already be a punishment.
It is amazing that, we're at a point where, I mean, the OJ case took a shorter time than this, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing that we don't have some sort of resolution.
When you put it that way.
Or any sort of, just accountability from CMU's side. And again, from my standpoint, I think I'm assuming, maybe incorrectly so, that as the Michigan punishment comes out, since it's tied to that case, whatever there is with CMU will also come out then. If it doesn't, that'll be something we need to dig into again.
Max next. The hot take. The NCAA grows a pair and hammers Michigan for using an ineligible player. J.J. McCarthy, the center of Cheeseburger Gate, is ruled ineligible because of his rule-breaking recruitment, and Michigan is forced to forfeit all games in which he participated. Hot take 2. CMU offers to fall on their sword for Michigan and takes a death penalty punishment for the football program, giving the NCAA the opportunity to save face and getting Michigan off the hook for allowing Stallions on the sidelines in the game versus MSU. In return, Michigan will fund all other CMU sports for 5 years.
CMU would love that, actually. These are dream takes, I think, from Max.
CMU would push you out of the way to sign that deal.
Dream sequent takes. Yeah, they push me down the stairs for sure. Amy Fullen would be like, here you go, buddy.
Fart Soup. Number 1, Couch's Twitter account is the follow of 2025. Need advice on how not to sweat after showering? Couch is there for you. Pissed off about preseason polls? Let Graham be your champion. Lacking a moral compass and need help getting on the right path? Let Couch be your light. And 2, I would never advocate for removing Blaha, but if we're going to imagine a world without him and Tiemann, I want to make a push for my guy out here in Seattle. Tony Castricone. Castricone.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tony. Polls double duty for UW softball and basketball.
Football, but close.
Football, fucking basketball. Believe he was also at CMU once upon a time.
A name to know. Again, Blaha, we can't do Blaha slander here. It's but otherwise,
But we also don't want it to get embarrassing.
That's correct.
We love George.
That's correct.
And
yes, that's a very good point.
We don't want it to get to Dick Clark levels.
Very.
It's not getting there yet. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
David Cox, concerned about Connor Eargood covering MSU. He said on Ebling's show that he doesn't see NFL potential in Nick Marsh.
What?
Unfathomable. I think he would have been a 3rd-round pick last year.
I'll have to listen to that myself. Find that because that seems amazing. That's not great analysis if it is. But and the other thing is he's a beat writer, and a beat writer's job is to go find the
maybe he misspoke
opinion of scouts and experts in the field and less their own, I guess. And this is an example of why. But yeah, I can't imagine he said that. That doesn't make sense.
I think they're just trying to get us to listen to the Ebling show. Hans Jurgen, number 1, Baby Izzo will one day take over as MSU basketball head coach and will bring the Spartans to the verge of breaking UCLA's record for most titles, but will fall short because AI will take over the world and exterminate humanity.
Thanks,
2, don't worry, this will be 70 years from now and we will all be dead by then. 3, Dylan Dingler is the best catcher to come out of Stark County, Ohio since the great Thurman Munson. And bonus, stop playing with your own ding-a-ling and look him up.
We all know Thurman Munson. Everybody knows Thurman Munson. Even the youngins know Thurman Munson.
Yep. You'd have to. Jake Hawkins, number 1, about time the Tigers got a win to stop this pathetic slump of losing 12 out of 13, including getting swept by the Pirates. That last out felt like it was taking forever to get, especially since the Blue Jays were able to score 4 runs to prevent the goose egg. I mean, goddamn. 2, this recent slump the Tigers went on is reminding me of 2009. Led the division a majority of the season, couldn't lock it up, fell in the last stretch, and the Twins caught up, forced a 163rd game, beat us for the division and a playoff spot. Make a trade to strengthen us, Harris. And 3, watch Happy Gilmore 2. Was skeptical, giving all the mixed reviews. Wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst movie ever. Take it for it is. Entertaining and feel-good laughter. All of the cameos. Eminem had the best one, but also goddamn Steve Buscemi had really aged.
The Eminem cameo was good, too. Yeah, that was a good. There was a lot of good cameos. And it was weird because, forgetting the woman's name who played Claire in Modern Family and was also in Ed. And
she's awesome.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, I had seen an interview.
She looks great.
With her and Sandler a while ago, and so I thought she was going to be like a huge part of the movie, and then
don't spoil it.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
What are you doing, Couch?
Jesus, fix that in post. Fix it in post. I'm sorry.
Why don't you just tell everybody the whole movie? It just came out like fucking last Friday.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Jesus, man. And Eminem's in it. I didn't even know that. I watched it last night. Thanks a lot, man. No, I knew that. It's good. Lastly, the jerk guy. Get us out of here before Couch ruins everything. Professionals should be able to organize their work so they can deliver on promises made. He's talking to you. Bonus AI isn't going to destroy us Terminator style. We're going to use it to destroy ourselves. Is this the deep shit he's doing on Blue Sky over there?
Yeah.
No, I might have to go check that out again.
Absolutely. We appreciate all of you, as always, for putting up with us, producing our show. You're always welcome to give me shit, and I'm happy to take it. It's usually deserved. And we appreciate your analysis and happy to give you some voice here. Thank you also to Comcast and Xfinity. Go to Xfinity.com. You can type in right there your address, see what the best deal is for you, see if you can start saving some money, be it on internet, be it phone line, be it with your cable over cutting the cord. I bet you wind up spending less with Xfinity than you do other places. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. Trivia, 90s Stream Trivia on Thursday night. We'll be back Wednesday, I think, right? Wednesday?
Yep,
We good with Wednesday? All right. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.